Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Creative Birth Strategies podcast, live from Apple and Spotify, also Clubhouse on Saturdays and Sundays. We bring education, strategy, and procedure to understanding the real estate industry from some great perspectives. I think we have a great speaker today. We're going to really dive into what Gualter Amarelo is doing with the Alchemist Nation. I've been watching him, tracking him through a lot of my social media buckets. Very impressed with what he's doing. And I think it's a complete compliment to the Creative Birth Strategies podcast, as well as the Creative Birth Strategies house on Clubhouse, to have him on here. Walter, good morning, good afternoon. How are you? Great to see you many years later in a brief meeting years ago. How are you?
Good to see you, Joe. Yeah, that was back in the Boston RIA days, the Real Estate Investor Association of Boston. So back when I used to run that with Duncan. So fantastic that you reached out, and I love what you've built with the whole Burr community, man. This is huge.
It's funny. So many things have transitioned since we've met. Obviously, you went into the RIA space. Now you're a national speaker. You're building out this. I'll call it the armada of event planning, leveraging people within your power team, because I'm a big fan of power team building. How did you find yourself in the real estate industry? Like, how did it all get started, and like, how did all of a sudden it just propel 5 years later? Because I think it's been 5 or 6 years since we had that Zoom call. What's the transition? I mean, COVID, a lot of other things, but what was the some of the things that really made get you to where you are today?
Wow, it's crazy. It's been a journey. So I started real estate investing in 2008. Then I went through a crazy divorce, and I started digging back in 2020. 2015 when I was 28 years old. But by the time I was 30, I kind of emotionally fixed a lot of stuff, and I was financially free by 30, millionaire by 32, multi-millionaire by 34. And that's where I really started tying into the RIAs, like really giving it back, like paying it forward, helping out. I had 42 units at the time. I was multi-millionaire. I'd written the book, broke to a quarter million, and I was just in contribution mode when I met you. I was really just looking to give back. And then, interestingly enough, I was going to start like touring the country and go on all these stages, and I was going to start, just preaching why, buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat was like the solution to wealth. Uh, and then COVID hit. So I was like building up this whole thing where I'm like, I'm gonna go save the world. I wrote my book. I got my knowledge, I got all my experience, because I made a commitment when I was going through that divorce. I was like, I'm gonna figure out money, and I'm gonna teach everybody how money works. And I had committed to doing it for free. I was like, I'm not gonna charge anybody. I'm just gonna do this like for free, and like teach, so that people don't have to suffer the way I suffer. Because money is what messed me up. Money was the reason I went through the divorce. And then COVID hit, and it was like, damn, like my whole purpose in life just got ripped away from me. Like I'm supposed to go and help people through all of this knowledge I have on real estate investing, and I can't help anybody. I can't go out and I can't speak on stages. I remember my last stage, it was in the Boston RIA. Like the last stage before they shut all of Boston down. I was there. They were telling us I shouldn't show up. Like my family was like, don't go, don't go. There's gonna be 200 people in the room. You like you could get sick. Like COVID could kill you. And I was like, dude, these people are showing up. I'm showing up. So there I am, like people coughing on me, like 200 people coughing in my direction, and I'm still giving as much value as I possibly can. And I made a commitment to everybody in that room. I was like, we're gonna find a way to do this virtually, and that's kind of how it started. Like I had to learn Zoom. I had to figure this thing out. I never used Zoom before. Like I had to figure this whole thing out, and that's how the start of it started. And we've been since then. Now it's been 5 years since going virtual, and it's really it's been 3 4 years since going virtual, but it's been amazing. Like now we have a national reach we never would have had before.
Yeah, so you went from physical to virtual. Now you're getting back to the physical aspect of networking
Yeah.
and building out your craft with like-minded professionals. What motivated you to become a real estate mentor, and what drives your passion for supporting real estate agents, real estate service providers, and how long have you been in this role?
Yeah, so I've been buying real estate since 2008. I've been a mentor since 2017, and what got me into real estate was I just wanted to be rich. Like truthfully, my dad told me like you want to be rich, you got to get into real estate. My dad don't know real estate. He wasn't rich, but he read a Dave Lindahl book and he knew the secret, right? He knew his son had to go and do this real estate thing. So when I had built my first portfolio, got to 42 units, and I'd gotten to that net worth of over $2 million. And I was like thinking, I was feeling guilty, right? I was feeling like I got to go give back. So When I started speaking, it was really because I had a team of real estate agents. I had 25 real estate agents who needed training. So I wasn't really like going out and being a public speaker. I was just running my trainings on Tuesdays and Thursdays for my agents, teaching them how to find more properties, teaching them how to do listings. And what I started teaching was, hey guys, like agency is not a retirement plan. You need to own real estate. And we started recording my trainings and putting them out on Facebook. And like that's kind of how it's very organic. Like I was teaching realtors that I was literally working with them, teaching them how to invest in real estate. So I teach them how to get listings from sellers, and I'd also teach them how to do creative financing, teach them how to like get the off-market deals, and like instead of just selling it and putting it on the market, I was like, Don, why don't you just buy that one? And I was buying properties with my agents, and one of my agents is still we're partners today. And so it was like it was the speaking and mentoring came because I started a company that I needed to teach my own people, and then later on, I used that as a way to recruit agents. I was teaching agents how to invest. That was a recruiting tool, but the mentoring real estate investors didn't come till much later. It was organic because of Facebook. Facebook started saying like real estate investors started following me instead of agents. I'm trying to teach agents, and investors start following me, right? And that's kind of how I started mentoring investors.
So, I'm an educator on the real estate agent side. I teach at a Temple University at the real
Yep.
estate school on asset-based lending. I always felt it was a uphill battle, you know, trying to help an agent actually understand investing. Do you find it difficult if they don't attend one of your events to really understand who you are, what you do? Do you think it's an uphill battle? Is it better off going for the realtors that come to the investor group meetings? I'm kind of breaking away from some of our questions, but you have me thinking because, I taught continuing education for the last decade, okay, for licensed realtors to understand investment financing. And it's like hitting my head off the wall, off a brick wall,
Yeah.
like the picture behind me. So, you know, what specific areas of expertise do you focus on when mentoring real estate professionals? Sales skills, negotiation, time management. Where do
Yeah.
you kind of start hitting the ground with some of these guys and gals?
Yeah, it's fantastic because a lot of the realtors that we have been working with, like they came to our events. They came to real estate investor events. They came to real estate networking events, and we teased out the concept of investment. If they were coming to like a real estate networking event, we teased out investment. And we're like, hey, by the way, realtors, you're all broke. So it's a very polarizing message. Realtors, you have no retirement plan. You're going to be broke unless you invest in real estate. And how could you how could you sell something you don't own? Right? How do you sell something you don't actually invest in yourself? So that's like one way we've actually learned to just say that immediately and get rid of all the realtors who would never work with us. Like just eliminate them right up front. And then what do we like when we work with realtors, we first have to get them away from the stuff they're thinking about. Well, how do I find more people who want to buy houses? Screw that. I don't want people who want to buy houses. What I want is people who want to buy multiple houses. I want people who are hyper buyers. People are going to buy 7 houses this year, not one house every 7 years. So forget the retail buyer, right? Especially in a market like this where the market's about to go tank, it's going sideways. Even if it's a soft landing, it's still, you see the retail buyers freaking out, pausing. The investors are sitting like crunching numbers, putting in offers, they're doing more deals, right? You see investors raising capital now. Like you just like investors don't stop. Buyers like they come and go with the seasons. Investors just change their strategy, but they don't stop buying, right? It keeps going. So that's one thing we teach investors, investor agent agents to become investor friendly agents. Like that's the main strategy. We teach them to do networking events and sponsor networking events because the challenge with realtors is they don't have an audience of investors. But where do all the investors go? They go to these RIAs to learn how to invest. And from that RIA, they learn how to invest. How many agents are in that room? None. There's no agents in the room with all the investors. So what is an investor? A hyper buyer. They're not going to buy one house. They're going to buy 7 houses. Right? They're going to buy as many houses until they run out of money. So what do you do as an agent? You find yourself a good lender who knows how to make the money happen, and now your investor will never stop buying. Right. And that's where most agents they fail. They just don't connect themselves with properties or lenders, and they don't connect themselves with people who will buy infinitely.
Yeah,
That's
so
limited
I,
belief
I,
system.
I see where you gave birth to the Alchemist Nation. So, actually a fan of the smaller granular networking group meetings, somewhere between 25 and 200. In that range, it's much more controllable. You could make everybody feel that you've touched them. So, some of these RIAs kind of, I'm not going to knock them. I've been part of a RIA for the last 20 years, but the process is slow. It's a little older in fashion. what separates Alchemist Nation now, and share more some insight. How did that come about? Because I know you were moving and shaking with the Boston RIA concept, but then this has come around full force over the last. I think I've really paid attention to it the last 24 months. Post COVID, what separates these investor group meetings? Because I'm a big fan of smaller, granular, being the focus point in the room. So what does Alchemist Nation do for somebody walking into that room, and what's the outcome long term, short term?
Yeah, first, let me just say the RIA is how I got to where I am. The bigger pockets in the RIA, without them, I never would
Yeah.
have, learned real estate investing or found my first deals. In Boston RIA, I raised millions of dollars just from, being in the room, talking about my deals. So like I do want to give them the credit, and I'm a big
Yeah.
member of that national RIA. So I go to their events, I've spoken at their
Yeah.
events to, help the RIA leaders be better at what they do. One thing I'll say that separates us is our focus is different. Alchemist Station's focus is to build millionaires. Every community leader of an Alchemist Nation event has committed to building 100 millionaires through their event. So that when I hold up the cup, that's what I'm talking about. Like every leader has committed to that. So our process had to be different because we were focused on net worth. We were focused on financial freedom. We're focused on legacy wealth, whereas the RIA is focused on teaching you real estate investing. So it's a very different belief system
Yeah.
and strategy just going into it. The mindset was different. So what we do differently, our tactical process is actually our professionals. So when you come in, we're telling you from day one, you're going to buy real estate. In the RIA, they're like, here's how things work. Here's how things work. We're like, you're going to buy real estate. You're going to commit to this much property. We have a thing we give, a report we give them. We said, here's your Millionaire Path report. Go to yourmillionairepath.com, fill it out, and here's your system. And it gives you the option. It says 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. How many years would you like to take? And then it spits out, and it's not an AI thing. I built this. So it's like my response, like here's based on all the information you gave me, here's how long it's going to take you, here's the process you got to follow. What it tells them is this is how much property you got to buy at this price with this much equity. Now it's like I have a plan. I've got a thing I've got to go do. And so now the next step is you need your lender to get the money right. You need your financial planner to teach you how to get 401ks to raise capital, right? Unlock some of that money from other people or from yourself. You need a realtor to find you properties. You need wholesalers to find you properties. You need partners. You need property managers. You need credit repair sometimes if your shit's wrong, right? This is all these different people that start coming out of the woodwork that you need. And so that's what we provide in Alchemist Nation. And we don't provide two hard money lenders. It's one. Right. And that one we chose could be removed tomorrow. Like if they mess up a single deal, they're gone. And there's a bunch of people sitting in the background. Same with every one of the professionals, they're trusted team members. They're real estate investors. So it's a very different philosophy. Whereas the RIA, like I love the RIA. Let me say it, but
Yeah.
I worked for Boston and they had like 6 hard money lenders. How do you know who to trust? How do you know who to work
Yeah.
to?
But what, to the advantage, I have to agree with the national RIA. When I've gone to RIAs throughout the country,
Yeah.
there's really not as much competition anymore in the
Mhm.
lending space. And the
Mhm.
traditional lender is kind of flatlined. And, from an asset-based lending, what I feel the same thing with the Alchemist Nation, what I'm hearing and what I'm thinking is that the gloves are off.
Yeah.
You went from a boxing ring with gloves and a mouthpiece. Now you get the gloves are off, and now you're hand-to-hand combat, in the art of war with all out, ready to go and tackle the world. So tell us about the 52 weeks of wealth to wealth, and how that will start.
Yeah, man. And that's the beauty to it too, is we don't cost anything, right? Alchemist Station's free. The course is free. The 52 weeks of wealth that you're talking about, that's a year-long coaching program worth over $10,000. That's free. And that's every Saturday. And then your Millionaire Path to get your report, that's free. Like both of our biggest assets, and then Names on Deeds, our big training program, that's free. So when you look at like what separates us from everybody else, one, we're giving the entire millionaire building process for free. And we're just saying, look, you go be a millionaire, we'll make our money from doing those transactions with you, right? Like that process. 52 Weeks of Wealth came from, I was going to all the different events, right? I was going to the RIAs, I was going to the Black Diamond, I was going to all the different networking events in the area, right? Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts. And I kept going, and I'd listen to the coaches, I'd listen to the speakers, I'd listen to everybody in the room, I connect with everybody, and just listen. Like, what are you looking for? What are your goals? Who are you? What are your skills? What have you done? And I was listening to everybody, and I kept hearing over and over, "Hey, I want to learn wholesaling. I want to learn wholesaling. I want to learn wholesaling. I want to learn wholesaling." And I was like, "Damn, like this is crazy. This is a lot of people who want to learn wholesaling." So I just said, "Hey, I'm going to do a wholesaling boot camp this weekend. It's going to be Saturday. Come in for an hour, and I'll teach it over the next 8 weeks." And I brought in a speaker who knew wholesaling. I was just like, I'm gonna put all this together, right? And the first week I had 20 people show up. We talked about wholesaling. And then the next week was 25 people, and it was 35 people, and then it was 40 people. And then my office was jam-packed at 40 people. So we started doing some virtual stuff to make sure that everybody was getting it. And then when COVID hit, I had just started shifting over to a more structured coaching program. Because once they knew how to wholesale, they realized they didn't want to wholesale. Once they learned how to wholesale, they realized they wanted to own rental properties. I was like, guys, like, I'll teach it because that's what you want, but here's how I got rich. Here's how I got free. Here's how I paid for the 10-unit building you're in right now that is paying for all the rent and allowing my lifestyle. This is one of my assets you're in right now, watching me use an asset that is paid for by all these tenants, right? And I'd show them, I'd take them through the building, like, look, these are all the units. Like, this is how it works. And but I switched because I went to Vegas for 3 months and I really wanted to like spiritually figure my stuff up. And most people will go like do a walk in the desert, right? Moses walked in the desert for 40 days, no water, no food. I did a 7-day fast in Las Vegas I brought myself like 40 books, my favorite books, all personal development, real estate, and I took all my notes from all my coaching programs I've been through over the last 6 years. And I started distilling down these principles. And I said, what is it that makes a person successful? How is it that I built my net worth? And how is it that I'm going to build my net worth in a higher level faster? Because it took me too long. I was very pissed off myself. I was like, I want to do this faster next time. So I started writing all the principles down. I hired a bunch of really powerful players, coaches who like were speaking out in Las Vegas and in California. I did all the circuit out there. And when I came back, I told the community, I was like, this is what I've learned. There are 52 wealth principles, and it's going to take us a year to go through them. I'm going to do one at a time. I'll give you all the principles. You can read them all, look at them all, but I'm going to go through, I'm going to teach each one meticulously through the process. And as I started doing it, some of the room was like, hey, is there a book I could learn more about this principle? And I had all my books. I'd read over at the time like 200 books, but now I'm like 450 books. But at the time, I hadn't put it together. So I sat down with one of my friends, and he was an attorney, and he was also reading a lot of books. And we took 4 hours and we put every principle, we gave it a book. Like this, today was Wealth Principle 14. So the 80/20 in sales and marketing is the book that goes along with it. So we started off like kind of organically, just helping people. Yeah, sure, let's level up. Double your income, double your net worth was the goal, right? That was the goal of the 52 weeks to wealth. And that was my initial goal. And I've told everybody who comes in, we're going to double your net worth, double your income. All you got to do is buy the right amount of real estate to do that. Every year, you just buy one property that's just a little bigger than the year before. And it just keeps doubling, right? You buy a 2-family year 1, year 2, you got to buy another 2-family. It's simple. That doubled you. But in year 3, you got to buy a 4-family. So now you have 8 units, right? Year 4, now you got to buy a 16 unit. So, it just, now you buy an 8 unit, so now you have 16. And then year 5, you've bought a 16 units, so now you got 32 units. So it's like, you can see how this compounding effect works, but it's just one property, Joseph. It's just one property. It's not like, I'm not telling people to flip 100 houses in a year. I'm not telling people to wholesale or go and get their real estate license. It's just, buy the right sized asset with the right amount of cash flow with the right partners, and you can be financially free in 3 to 5 years.
So I know you're a health nut like myself,
Yeah,
and you've
man.
done some very serious holistics. I saw the 6-pack. It's okay. I'm like, I've now since we talked last, I've lost about 160 pounds. So I've taken a very holistic approach. I'm trying. We're going through transformations. It sounds like we have some relevant past endeavors in our relationships. Do you take that in that mindset, that healthy mindset, and try to apply that when you're assisting real estate professionals in identifying and capitalizing on market opportunities? Because I'm a big believer in health as well. So if you have full clarity, you could identify anything that people really typically can't see. So, like to me, fasting all day and eating that one meal of protein at the end of the day will give me better insight of looking at things around me. So, how do you take that and transfer that in identifying with real estate professionals and getting them to understand? Is there a health piece to that
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah, so alchemy really is a full body transformation, right? So when you look at alchemy, the definition that was given by Deepak Chopra was it's the transformation of oneself to a better version, a higher level. So to get out of the world of competition into a world of creation, to get out of a world of pain and into a place of bliss. And when we look at it financially, it's to get from a place of scarcity to a place of abundance, right? How do we get to that space? And we use the body because it's what we're walking around with all the time. And what I've found is people who are focused on improving their health and improving their mindset end up improving their finances. It's that weird thing of holistic approach to life. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you find yourself cheating in business, you might be cheating on your wife. If you find yourself cheating on your meals, you might later on cheat in your business, and that's going to cause you to get lawsuits or just failures. People aren't going to want to work with you. So the idea was, if I really wanted to scale up my business, I had to really scale up my body. I had to go back and really start looking at, where was I cheating myself? Where was I robbing from my future life? Because you look at Warren Buffett and you look at Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger just died at 99 years old. That's one of the secrets to his wealth. Live long enough and it can actually develop to things even beyond. But in our physical bodies, like, I did the fast. I did the 7-day fast. This was a wet fast, so I did drink water and I did have vitamins.
Yep.
I did vitamins. I did some electrolytes, but no sugar, no protein, and no carbs, no fiber. Very difficult to do, and I don't suggest anybody does this without really knowing their body very well or getting a medical professional involved. And I had a dietitian with me to make sure that I was okay along it. And what I discovered was day one and day two of no food is absolute insanity. And I love the intermittent fasting where you do one protein meal. That is, to me, like the healthiest way to live. Like, if you want a quality life, you just don't eat until the afternoon, and short meal, the right amount of calories, right amount of protein, and be done with it. When you don't do any food, the first 48 hours, you hate your life. You absolutely are in pain. It is frustrating. Everything is a distraction. It's People are like, I'm supposed to feel clarity. Clarity is not in the 48 hours. Clarity does not come until 72 hours. I don't mean like day 3. I mean day 4. But on day 4, there is an insane amount of peace that comes over you. And I was able to be in a bar in an amazing restaurant that my buddy owns down in Tarpon Springs. He was the guy who was on Zombie House Flipping in Florida. His name is Justin Spangler, and Justin owns this bar called Johnny's Pub. And man, the food they make everything in the back. It's everything from scratch. And I'm smelling it, I'm listening, and I'm there doing this podcast with these guys. And the entire time I'm just like, I can't believe how much extra time I have because I'm not eating right now. Like, we just sat down at a table for 2 hours and I was able to really engage and listen. I was able to communicate the whole time because I wasn't eating. And it continued to be a thing that happened over time. I would come from home from the gym and I'd be thinking about, man, I should grab a snack. And it's like, damn, like, I can't grab a snack. I'm fasting. I just gained all the 15 minutes I was going to go drive over to Taco Bell. Like, I just gained all that time back. And it was over and over. But the business model that came into my head, like caring about human beings, knowing who to talk to and who not to talk to, like a level of intensity, Joe, that I've never really experienced when I'm eating food, of this is the right thing to do, that's the wrong thing to do. Like, efficiency like sunk into my bones, of like knowing that person's a waste of time. They want something from me. They're not looking to grow. Or this person I have to serve because this person's looking to become, at this level. They're not a player. Like, this is a player of players. They're not a normal player. They're going to the top. And that clarity just like is sunk into my bones, right? Because you're so hungry, your body starts getting sharper, and you can transmute that over into your business.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I've done the 7-day cleanse.
Yeah.
I've actually not have had a carbohydrate, a hard carbohydrate in over 4 years. And
Oh,
people are
hell
like,
yeah.
how are you successfully doing this diet? See, I don't think people really, I think when people are still starting to get into the real estate industry, they don't realize this is a lifestyle.
Yes.
And the health part is part of the lifestyle in the transition. And I could sit here all day and do 15 podcasts and not think anything of it. Some people are like, oh my gosh, 15 podcasts. That's if you're passionate and your head is clear of all the bad toxins, I think, education in real estate is easy to grasp. We're doing probably more than the average 90% of the people because we're doing something very consistently every day. So, I love to get your thoughts on the role of continuing education and professional development when somebody's looking to become a successful real estate agent, broker, investor, because I've been a fan of being a continuing education teacher. There's been some frustration. There's been some just, hey, maybe is this worth it doing anymore? What's your thoughts on the continuing education part? It doesn't have to be CE, because I know you're a licensed realtor as well, or um, just education on ongoing from the investment space. How do you see that tie into Alchemist Nation?
Yeah, man, just success in general. And I'll tie it into Alchemy Station in the sense that Alchemy Station's about just making our community better, right? Like we have Deca millionaires in there now. We have like pentamillionaires. So they're always doing the same exact thing you and I are doing, right? Educating ourselves, like getting to that next level is different types of education at different points. There's five different categories of education in my mind that make you a successful human being. The first is your passion, your purpose, your dharma. So that level of education that comes from yogis, spirituality, like it's a different type of education. The second one is communication. That's really marketing and sales, right? Your ability to communicate to other people is what makes you successful, and getting around other people, that's networking. That's another component. So that's marketing, is getting around people, and communication is a form of marketing. It's a form of sales. The fourth one is business acumen, efficiency, and effectiveness, right? If you are not taking trainings, like hiring coaches or mentors or in masterminds that are teaching you how to be more efficient and effective, then you could be doing $20 tasks, 20-hour tasks the rest of your life, right? Like I was doing $20 hour tasks until my coach said, "Hey, by the way, did you know?" Calculate, you're working for $17 an hour right there. Anytime you're doing that particular task, is a $17 an hour task. Then you'd be like, this over here, that's $1,000 an hour task. You should do more of that. And it was like, you need somebody who has, I don't know how that education comes to you other than either a spreadsheet. You're really good with spreadsheets. Like I'm an accountant, so maybe that helped. But my coaches are the one who told me how to use those spreadsheets. Like told me, hey, by the way, track your metrics on your time. So I think coaching is important. And when it comes to multifamily, technique, tactic, strategy, that is, you need to get that from local people, and you also need to get that from people who understand like structure of funds or structure of deal. There's a lot of technique involved, and like I wouldn't know how to do the things I do if it wasn't for like Vinny Chopra has helped me so much when it comes to structuring funds and like finances and even evaluating properties. But then my early mentor Dave, he showed me how to look at a property and an area. And then he'd be like, that area I would never invest in, but this right over here, great spot to invest in. This makes sense. And you need to get it from different places. I'm a people person. Like when I say I'm a people person, let me say I'm a freaking introvert. I don't like being out and doing a lot of people stuff. Like I don't like to be around a lot of people. I do the speaking out of contribution, but I'm like to learn from people. So like I pay a lot of money for my education because I want direct from the source. I don't want to just read an article and then try to guess shit. I don't like getting things wrong. So I spend a little bit more money getting those higher level relationships, but I also don't make any of those mistakes that I would if I was trying to learn it myself. But I also have read 450 books. So like this bookshelf behind me is not all my books. A lot of them are on Audible now as well. So like Joe, there's no stop. You get it through whatever source, masterminds, coaches, mentors, online training programs, websites, blogs, chat GPT. Just be efficient with when you're on there because it will spit out garbage too. So like any way to get information in is going to be necessary for growth, but like like you got to take action too. So like there's a limit to how much I'll consume before I go and do something. Like in my head, I consume and then I take enough action to know what the next question is. Because if you just keep consuming and like trying to live in the like virtual world of I think I've got all the answers, like the only answers you really know are the ones that you did. And then yeah, learn from that too.
Since I've met you years ago to right now, okay, I have not talked to you in over 5 or 6 years. I see and feel the transformational energy that you've grabbed onto. When I met you, you weren't even in a transformational state. It was like it's a whole nother Walter. I mean, like that's why I reached out to you. I'm like, there's something going on with this guy that something's pivoted. I mean, obviously, you found the love of your life. I had the same transformation about 14 years ago. Went through a second relationship, and obviously, when you have that better looking half that balances out life in general, it motivates you. So, you know, that's probably one of the reasons having you on here to talk about the impact, not only as a realtor, a speaker, an author, a founder of both the Alchemist Nation, 52 Weeks to Wealth Community. what has made the most impact on your success? And it might not be any of them. So, for you, what's been the true, there's a water pistol to your head. What really gave you the transformation?
Mastermind. I for two I will say mastermind for two different reasons. One, for building millionaires, that has been my clutch product. Like I just put people into a room and I force them to buy real estate. I surround them with other people who buy in real estate. And so they're forced to collaborate on how do we go buy real estate this week. And then for me, I paid for a $35,000 mastermind, so much more expensive than anything I'd ever been in. And that mastermind kept asking me, what can you do to make $1 million this month? What can you do to make $1 million this month? What can you do to help more people to make $1 million this month? And that question and those people, there's 36 of us in that mastermind, and they were all good, caring people. We'd all spent the same money. We all were doing different businesses. I was the real estate guy. They were all in different stuff, but we were all asking that question and we were all supporting each other. But I just, man, and we would only meet once a month, but we would, no, we meet two times every 2 months. So it was 6 times a year. And we'd all fly into either Vegas or we'd fly into Florida or we'd fly into New Jersey. And we'd all come in. It was 6 times a year. And we'd hang out for 2 days and we would just mastermind. Like, how are we going to get this to the next level? And I can't tell you, I busted my ass for 60 days straight in between masterminds because I knew I was coming back to those people and I couldn't be a loser. Like I just knew I was coming back to those people 60 days from now, and I had to be better than I was 60 days before because I had to present. I had to sit. We were in together in the room for like 18 hours a day. Like it was like 18 hours in one room, then the next day 18 hours again. And like when I presented, it's like 20, 30 minutes in front of 36 people, and they're gonna tear apart all my objections, all my bullshit, anything that was like a limiting belief. They're gonna question my numbers, everything. And it really, really, really just scared the heck out of me, but it also woke me up to questions I should have been asking that I wasn't asking my business. And like I would go back to my seat like shaking, like I have all the answers. Like my brain was full of all the answers. I would record it and I'd send it off to my team and have my team like break down all of the things that everybody said. And then so when I flew back, my team was already aware of what I was in and what we were going to be going and doing. And so they were just like check like a lot of the things were already done for me by the time I got back, right? And then they were getting my opinion on like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? So it mastermind that's
Yeah, I did something relevant. I did a landmark education to get me out of my own way.
yep.
Went through the entire process, all the classes, and had an eye-opening wake-up call. I mean, everybody needs something to peel the onion back to have a reality check. It doesn't have to be landmark. It could be something, in the real estate model, something that you're putting together that we're talking about today. What advice would you give to a new or struggling realtor or real estate professional investor to help them navigate the current economy? And I'm noticing more investors are going to get their real estate licenses just to have accessibilities and be their own accountable actions to finding opportunities. So what's your thoughts to that? What advice would you give?
Yeah, man. I teach a course called Working with Investors. So in that course, I talk about three things. There's actually 6 core desires that every investor has. So if I'm speaking directly to realtors and you want to survive 2024, 25, 26, the only solution is to work with investors. Number one, you got to like commit to investors. They have certain things that they're looking for. I'm going to give you the three. I'll give you three, the most important ones that you need to know. The first one is you need to know how to raise private capital. Like if you as a realtor don't understand how money works, you're going to end up with investors who don't understand how money works, and they're not going to be able to close on things. So you need to be able to have all of the creative strategies, the seller financing, the subject to the raising private capital from a friend, the 401k, self-directed stuff. Like you need to have all of those under your belt. So when it comes time to negotiating them, you can sell them to the other realtor on the other end. So necessary for you to understand money. We'll call it creative financing, right? The second one is an off-market list. If you want to attract investors, you need to have something no other realtor has, an off-market list. Now, one of the things that you'll say to me is, oh, if I had an off-market list, I just list the property, right? I'm not talking about having the list made already. I'm saying tell them you'll build them a list of off-market properties and then charge them $5,000 to go and build the list and market the list, right? Charge them something and go and do that. And the third thing you need to do is be able to speak the language of an investor. You need to be able to evaluate a deal. If you can't build an off-market list and you can't raise capital, here's what you can do. Take every property on MLS and run it through a bigger pockets calculator for the burst strategy, and then tell the investor, here's the offer we should submit, and send them the calculator in. If you do that, you will not have any problem or any time like finding clients, because you'll be handing investors exactly what they're looking for. Hey, yeah, you know what? Yeah, submit that offer. You can be my agent on that. All you have to do is communicate with investors, like let them know, hey, I did this calculator. No agent's doing this, right? You don't have to be better. Like if you think about Olympians, right, Joe, and for every realtor's listening, if you think about Olympians, they're not that much faster than the other person, right? Gold medal is like a second faster. And it's the same thing in agency. All you have to do is know how to evaluate a property and provide the evaluation to your investor. Go the step, take the work away, provide the value, right? Wrap it in a bow, or help them get the money to close their deals, or go and market for them. Like investors will pay. I've paid $50,000 to get marketing done for me. And I started a marketing company. I had investors pay me $50,000 to go and find off market leads for them. So I know that that's one client, 25,000, 50,000. So if you go and pull a list, skip trace list, and phone call all the owners that say, have got an investor who wants to buy your house, would you be open to an offer? And you spend 4 or 5 hours a day on that, like, and you charge that investor to build like 5,000, you're making money on both sides. You're getting paid before you close. There's so many ways to do it, Joe. Like it's just
Yeah,
people
I
are
mean,
not
listen,
aware.
you have to make a lot of mistakes to make the
Yeah.
successes, right? You've invested countless amount of money before you've made a dime. You already were successful with your real estate holdings, but you didn't feel successful where it was, you took the veil down, you took the drape down. Now there's no Oz behind the drape, you're just Oz type
Yeah.
of mentality. So as a nationwide direct private lender, I believe our home shapes our lives, like the love of your life, your why. What is your favorite memory in a home?
Wow. Wow, that's cool. I was probably with Dorina. To be fair, me and Dorina are working on our 4th year. Our son is coming out in June. He's like a new release. He's coming out in June. And I would say, like, when we first came to Florida, she was scared to be here. She didn't want to be here. She was, afraid of cockroaches and afraid of the summer. Well, we moved into this house. This is a 3,000 square foot house. We don't own it. We rent it. And we moved here. I've never had this much brand new house around me. And I sat down with her and I said, wow, like we've really come far. We live here in Florida, and we're in a single family house that's 3,000 square feet, paid for by all these other rental properties. Just a really cool moment, just to be able to sit down and know that I never have to work again, and she never has to work. She never has to do a thing she doesn't want to do. I never have to do a thing I don't want to do. The things we do, even when I don't want to do them, is because I believe in what I'm doing, right? Like I said, I'm an introvert. I don't want to be out public speaking. I don't, even the podcast, like Dorina had to hype me up to come on the podcast. She's like, Joseph's gonna have fun with you. It's great questions. It's gonna be good for the community. And like now I'm on here, I'm freaking loving it, right? I love you. I love the conversation we're having. But man, like just knowing I never have to do anything I don't want to do, like sitting in that on that couch was just like a surreal moment to me, Joe. Like really, like you feel like you won the game, you know?
So some thoughts to that. I mean, obviously the love of your life has obviously made some great influences. You're a successful real estate owner and operator. You're providing this education and you're growing out this Alchemist Nation, which I'm seeing. I'm seeing it all around me, other than Philadelphia and South Jersey, but I'm
Coming
seeing it
soon, man.
everywhere. Seeing it everywhere else. I know some of the people that are involved. If you have a free gift or something you would like to promote, I'd love
Yeah.
you to share it now so we can get it out there in front of us.
Yeah, I think the first place to our 3-step process to becoming a millionaire, go to yourmillionairepath.com, take the 6 questions, and you'll get a report right there, a PDF. You can share it with your coach, share it with your family, share it with your financial advisor, share it with your realtor, let them know, hey, this is how I'm going to become a millionaire. Will you work with me? If anybody says that's crazy, move on, find somebody else, right? Get somebody else. And if it's your spouse, work on the relationship. But take your Millionaire Path report. Go to yourmillionairepath.com. I'm sorry, it's go to yourmillionairepath.com and get your free report. And we won't call you, we won't bother you. If you want to go to any of our free courses, the link is on there at the end of it. But take the report and just see what could happen for you. Like see what it might look like if you became a millionaire and how long it might take you. Do yourself a favor. Try it, take the report 2 times, right? Because there's an option to take it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, right? I've very rarely will somebody go and look at the 20-year option. Very rarely will somebody look at the 10-year option. But when I can see on the back end, like when a person goes and does it, because I see the analytics, I'm like, why would they even ask how long it takes? Like, why would you look at the 20-year option and become a millionaire? Look, there's a 5 there. Take the 5 if you're conservative. Take the 3, but there is a 1-year option too. So, take the one you feel is most authentic to you, what you think is possible. But also, I do tease out, go take a look at what it would look like in a year. And if it's scary now, like I bet it won't be 5 years from now. But take a look.
Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with the audience in regards to what we're talking about, Alchemist Nation, your mentoring mastermind? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, whatever's stopping you today will seem small one day. So focus on where you want to go, focus on your health, focus on your relationships. Real estate is a tool. It is not life. It is a tool. I tell everybody I don't love real estate. I'm damn good at it. It's not that I'm passionate about it. It's just I'm damn good at it. I love people. I love seeing people win. I love seeing people do well. I love eating food, believe it or not, Joe. Even though like I stopped eating for 7 days, I love traveling, talking about success, talking about how we could live better, how we could build something better and like improve other people's lives. And that to me is what each one of you really deserves. The ability to spend more time focusing on improving your life and the lives of the people around you. So use real estate. Absolutely. Get good at real estate. Absolutely. Be passionate about it for sure. But understand it's a tool. It's a tool so we can help more people and get the quality of life that you deserve. That just focus, buy something that cash flows. Don't buy garbage. I'll give them that last piece of advice. Don't buy garbage, only buy things that cash flow.
I've seen many dumpster fires in my career. Being in the lending
All right.
space now 24 years, you get to see a lot of great stuff, and then you get to see some really bad stuff. And Walter, I want to thank you for taking the time and considering this as a viable option to come onto our podcast at Creative Bird Strategies. You're always welcome back. You're welcome to Philadelphia and South Jersey anytime. I am so happy to see your transformation. When we both have had transformations since we last met. It's just amazing where you've gone with this from a social media branding perspective, because I see it, I'm recognizing, I say, I have to reach out to this guy. We're connected, and I haven't talked to this man in X amount of years. There's something different about him that I just see from the brand. I'm so glad you have the love of your life. It obviously resonates with what you're doing. And I thank you again for coming on to the Creative Birth Strategies. We're going to get this out to our attendees, our registrants, our downloads, and we're going to share it with you and share it with our database. And I want to thank you again for taking the time on a Saturday to speak with us. And we'll stay in touch, and I'll be reaching back out to you. Everybody listening in, come download this on Apple and Spotify. Be part of the Creative Birth Strategies podcast. Be part of the Alchemist Nation. And again, thank you, Walter. We'll talk again.
Cheers, brother.